and time to jump into the podcast. Hello and welcome to Paradise. You are listening to Green Dudes, the only Green Day podcast that matters. You are here with myself. I'm Connor Mack, and I am here as always with my Green Day comrade in arms, my BFFFFFFFFFFFFL, and my dude wife for life, Mr. Connor Kelly.
Hey, thanks, man. As always, thank you.
How are you doing? How's life treating you? We have had a we have had a week off.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been. Sometimes you need to just take a step back from it all,
Yeah.
because it's like Jack Nicholson says, all work and no
Yeah.
play makes Jack a dull boy. And sometimes I think it's like we're all Jack, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the full quote is all work and no play makes Jack Nicholson a dull boy.
Yeah.
He did refer to himself, in the third person. So,
Mm,
um, but I mean, I think it does apply even if you're not named Jack
yeah.
Nicholson.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. It's like I think a lot of times when people think about like The Shining and they're like, I think this only makes sense if your name is Jack. Um, so I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever seen that Room 237 documentary or whatever. It's all about that. It's all about
yeah,
how like the coalition of Jacks kind of came together, unlock the secrets. It's kind of like
yeah,
how we're like the Connors. We have our own
totally.
thing going
And this
on.
is kind of like our Shining.
Yeah. And there's sort of like this whole like parallel other thing where it's like if your name is Jack, I think like all the Jacks kind of have a thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not true
true.
for all names. It's not like there's a whole bunch of like Sebastians meeting up and going like, "Oh yeah, no, this is like Club Sebastian." Like it depends
No.
on the name.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I drove by Club Sebastian, the parking lot was totally empty. So you're right. There's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Maybe in like the 17th century or something.
Yeah, no,
There were
it
more
I mean,
Sebastians.
it ebbs and flows. Like I think
Yeah,
back then Club Sebastian was killing it actually.
I
Like
think, I think it was.
heyday. And now, it's kind
It's
of
a
like it's the rise of the Connors. So
yeah, it's a shadow of its former self. Um, Going back to The Shining, I love that scene in the movie where he's like he has this hole, his face in the hole in the wall, you know,
yeah.
and he's
Yeah, it's
like,
a famous scene, yeah.
yeah, he's like, here's Jackie,
Yep.
you know,
Yes.
and actually, Billy does he does kind of do a little parody of that scene in Quattro. Remember that where they're like um taking down the wall and he does like a little shining
Wow. I,
uh
I don't remember
reference.
that,
Yeah.
but I really love that there's like a constant 6 degrees of Green Day happening.
Yeah. I mean, I I can bring pretty much anything back there.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so I mean, Connor, it's been a week plus since we've talked Green Day, which is crazy. It wasn't, an intentional break, but just, there was a few things in our schedules that just, prevented us from yeah, from turning in an episode. And here's the thing, we could have recorded an episode this week. We could have, but would the episode have been to the quality that our listeners are used to? No.
No.
It's the honest
No.
answer.
Of course
The
not.
and we're not going to give them a half-assed product. Just
No.
our style.
No. No. Does anything about this operation scream half-assed to you? I don't think so.
No, and if you're someone that's saying yes, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Back to sleep to go back to La La Land where everything is just easy and you could just run a podcast of this caliber, no problem. That's not the world we live in. We need time and effort and uh, hard work, to keep the wheels turning on this thing. But anyways, we're back now, and I think we're gonna get back into a regular groove of things.
Connor, we missed 1 week. I really don't give a fuck.
All right.
If anyone's complaining, they can fuck off.
Yeah, no one's
And
really complains. I mean,
I wouldn't even
I just
mention
hold
it.
myself to a high standard, and I want to. I mean, here's the cold hard truth, and usually it doesn't. It's not that big of a deal for 1 week here and there, but Connor, consistency is the name of the game in podcast town.
Right.
If we start missing weeks here and there, guess what, buddy? The numbers, they go down.
hmm this whole operation goes belly up.
This whole operation goes belly up. That's it. No more Christmas bonuses for us.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's just what we're working with. That's just what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Um, but
Whatever.
so while yeah, whatever. All right, man. All right, man. Well, that's why you're the co-host, not the host.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No. Exactly.
uh,
I'm just along for the ride.
yeah, which is totally fine. Anyways, Connor, so we missed a week in Green Day news. So, do you want to give us a rundown of
Oh
what we
yeah.
missed in the world of Green Day this past week or so?
There's that transition. There's that segue. Yeah. Um. Well, Green Day is still going around. They're on tour. They're on this wild and wonderful world
Yeah.
tour, globetrotting,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they had 2 nights in Tokyo,
I think so. Yeah.
and it seemed like those shows were really awesome. I like watching Billy's, or like seeing like the Instagram pictures up, and then what? I think they just played in Melbourne,
Yeah.
Australia.
Well,
Yeah.
you are up on this.
Yep. Yep. Well, if I'm scrolling through social media, I at least see that stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
not really digging but if it comes across me organically, I'll be like, oh yeah, look at that
Yeah.
show. That's pretty cool. And I'll check out the set lists here and there.
Yeah. Well, that's that's one of the things I did want to talk about here. They so these shows that they've had in they were in Malaysia, they were in China, they were in Thailand, they were in a lot of cool places, and for some reason they're not playing Dookie and American Idiot, uh or they weren't in these locations. They are in Australia though. They're back to playing both albums in full. I don't know why the eastern countries were not given the same treatment. Seems kind of messed up, but that's just what happened. But anyways, that kind of gave more room in the set list for Aberrations.
hmm
And so they played a bunch of like really cool deep cuts. Like they played at the Library Acoustic. I know they played Who Were Holding Caulfield. They played One of My Lies, a bunch of cool
Yeah.
tracks. But more excitingly, in my to my mind, is they played Strange Days Are Here to Stay and Coma City in Japan,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
are that's huge. I would love to see those songs live.
Yes. Yeah. That's pretty sweet. It really is. Great songs off a great album. You know, when do we get to hear Saviors in full? Where's
I
that show?
know. Yeah, are we gonna have to wait for the 20th anniversary tour?
Maybe. And you know what? We'll be there. So
Oh yeah, we will be there. 2044.
I can wait. We got time.
We will just be. I think we'll probably just be finishing talking about the latest Green Day album on Green Dudes.
Yes.
Um. So I mean, it will probably coincide with us covering
No,
the 16th
I
Green Day
I could
record.
I could hear it now. We'll be like, man, this podcast started with Saviors,
Yeah,
and
it's come full circle.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was gonna
So
say it's gonna end with Saviors, but
it's a good time to wrap things up. I think we'd say that and then just keep on doing it
no.
anyways.
Well, we go as long as they go.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
this is like a blood pact.
It is a blood pact, and the thing about that, they are a little bit older than us, so even after their career ends, Connor, there's still going to be box sets coming out and demos unearthed and different things. So I mean, Connor, we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about them for a long time. Uh, might be till the end of us, to be
Yeah,
quite.
I have since realized, like, I didn't realize I was saying, oh, here I am coming along for the ride, whatever, co-host duties. But
Yeah,
at one point, it hit me. I woke up. It was like 3 a.m. My eyes shoot open. I'm in
yeah.
a cold sweat, and it dawns on me. This is essentially the defining feature of my life now. Is that I do a Green Day podcast. This is just what I do now.
This is it. This is the thing.
Forever.
Yeah, forever now.
Ooh, how
This
did I
this
mess
is
that one up?
this is the thing.
I do need a better way to die. That's the thing. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
absolutely.
real.
Yes.
I need a better way now.
And if we go out podcasting, Connor, I mean, I can't think of a better way to go.
Yeah.
We just we just there's just like dead air, and we're just like, Connor, Connor, you're there? Did your audio break? And then that's just it. And then but then you would go like shortly after. You would be like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we just are on stream until they find us.
Yeah, no, it's time. We'll be like that old couple in Titanic
Yeah,
as the water's filling up, and we'll just have the mic in between us
yeah, it's a
as
beautiful.
as the water goes over our heads. That'll
What
be
a
it.
beautiful image.
Yeah.
What a beautiful image. Um,
Um, so what else is going on? What else?
yeah.
So those
So,
aberrations, those are pretty good, huh?
yeah. I'm just that's pretty much it. I don't actually think there's too much more going on in Green Day world. I mean, I'm happy that they're out doing their thing. Seems like they're having awesome shows. But not much else to report from the front line.
Yeah.
Today on the podcast, though, Connor, we are talking about a specific song.
Hmm.
And of course, that song is the 12th track on Dookie. Um, happens to be written by Mr. Mike Dirnt.
Is that so?
That is so. The
Is that
song,
so?
yes, yes, indeed. The song is titled Emenius Sleepus. You can pronounce it however you want. Connor, how would you pronounce this song?
Yeah, I think that's right. Emenius Sleepus. It is
Yeah.
funny because I remember being younger and just calling it E minus Sleepus.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you got your report card handed back to you and you got an E
E,
minus.
E minus. That's like we didn't know that grades this low.
Yeah. I don't know. I literally like remember uh how again, like however young I would have been, around 13, give or take. And I just thought the song, even though it's like you could just look at the order of the letters and just know what the fuck it says. But
Yeah.
literally, I think probably for like a good like 2 years up until I was like 15 or so, I was like E minus Sleepus, right? And then
Yeah. I feel
like
like I have
one
heard you.
day,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yes.
definitely heard you say it like that.
And then like one day, I don't know if it was because we were talking about it. I don't know if I heard or if I just like looked closely. I did like a double take and I was like, wait a
Is it a
minute.
record scratch?
Yeah. I was like, hold up. There's no hyphen in this. What the fuck is this? Um Emenius Sleepus. That's how
Yeah.
you say it.
Which is it's a Latin phrase,
Yeah.
and I as you know, Connor, as everyone knows, I did take Latin in school.
Yeah.
I took 1 year of Latin,
Hmm.
so I'm pretty well versed in the language.
Yeah.
And so uh,
I gotta ask you man to man, Connor, not just podcast guy to podcast guy.
yeah, yeah,
Man to man.
yeah. What's up?
Did you really?
I did take a year of Latin. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, we sometimes we kind of riff.
Oh
We
yeah. No,
we have like our riff raff, but
believe it or not, not all the things we say on this podcast are strictly the truth. Um, I think they all have kernels of truth.
yeah,
There's always kernels of truth within, but I mean, if like some
pieces
pieces of
pieces of
truth,
truth.
oh, little pieces of truth,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Um, I I listened to that record
dude.
not too long
Yes.
ago. It's so good.
Yeah,
It's
no, it's
really
killer. I
it's all killer.
can't wait to be, fucking 45 when we start. We'll
Yeah.
be winding up.
Well, yes, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, so I took a year of Latin, but that was after I took 2 years of Spanish one.
Yeah.
I took two
Wow.
years of Spanish one.
What did you get a fucking E minus in that one?
I
You
got,
had to
I
take
got
it
an E
again?
minus. Yeah, I got an E minus both times, and they're like, you can take a different language if you want, And I took 1 year of Latin, and I didn't do very well. And then they're like, okay, you don't have to do any more of this. You're fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
You tried learning other languages, it didn't really stick.
Right. And then they're just like, you can't. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a great
So
lesson to be learned there. Like sometimes you just stop,
it just yes. I mean, and I really credit my high school very well for knowing when to just not bother.
Right. To just give up on a child completely.
Yes, they're like you can just like go home early on your senior year if you want, and that's
Yeah.
and fine, and like that's fine. We'll just pass you. It's okay. Like, you can just leave whenever you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, they're like we really shouldn't keep passing you, but we're just going to. So
Yeah.
uh best of luck to you,
Hmm.
so I do really appreciate the leeway I had there.
Yeah.
um but yeah, no, I didn't really learn Latin. I did take Latin. Apparently this fucking song, it translates to sleep with the buyer.
Hmm.
What do you think of that?
Um, I don't know. I've never really known what I always kind of assumed for some reason it meant something like without sleep, like completely
Oh
without,
yeah,
like to be like completely fucking, you know,
say
all fried out because you haven't
like
slept
an
in days. And
insomniac.
yes,
Wow.
yes, yeah, exactly. Um, Sleep with the buyer. I don't know. Maybe as we go through and we talk about the lyrical content of the song, something will click. But
Yeah,
as of
maybe
this
so.
moment, Connor, I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, my first instinct is just to say like it's a phrase Mike saw or in liked, or maybe he didn't even title it. Maybe Trey titled it and he's like,
Yes.
I saw this phrase that we'll use it for this. But Mike was like, "Hey Trey, what are we gonna call this song?" And that.
Yeah. Which
Uh,
has happened.
it has
Those
happened.
things
Yes,
happen.
it has happened. Yeah. So maybe we'll get some more insight into that. But anyways, yeah, let's jump on in. Connor, I know you had some misconceptions about the title when you were young. That's very easy to do because I mean I don't even know. I mean, like to this day, I don't know for sure how to pronounce it. It's a tricky one. It's the we're like officially like in the deep end of the pool with
Yeah.
for Dookie. Like we're in the songs that are kind of buried in the deep end here. Which is an exciting place to be for sure. But I want to know about you as a youthful kiddo listening to this song, kind of powering it for the first time. What was that young boy's impression of this track, if it made an impression at all?
Yeah, this one did. Um, this is one of the like deeper Dookie cuts that stuck with me. It's not quite Pulling Teeth levels, because that was to me sort of like always the defining deep cut track of Dookie, and one that I, have loved since I first listened to the record. But this was still up there in that category, I guess, for me, as a song that I did feel like, even when I was first getting into Dookie, um I like this one a lot. And I would chalk a lot of that up to, like, um just the playing, just it's like, this is a song where it's just very satisfying to listen to. It feels like, um I don't know. It's it it's like stupid to say, because you could say this about so many songs on Dookie, but for some reason this was a song that I really like latched onto, because it felt like that, um you know fast, uh kind of in your face, punk rock, something that I think you could definitely be like, well, what about in the end? The track after this, it's like, doesn't that kind of hold the moniker a little bit more? And it's like, well, I think on the face of it, yeah, but for whatever reason, this is one of the ones that I liked quite a bit. And I think too, it had like a good balance where, like, I felt like I could understand it pretty, like, immediately. Like, you're listening to it, and I think there's kind of like this clarity in the chorus where, even then I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of a song about, like, realizing who someone is, or like falling out with a friend, or things like that. And I guess that was something that kind of resonated with me. We'll talk more about that, but uh so in short, Connor, it's a song that I've definitely grown a lot with, but I think even back then, this was one that kind of like stuck out to me as something I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I mean, it didn't stick out quite the same to me, but I do remember, I brought up this, like, know thing that I've done and maybe still do even with music is you can kind of, especially when you're like an 11-year-old child, fantasizing about your life and the things that are going to happen to you. th- you know, th- that's what, like, a lot of Green Day's early discography was for me. But this one maybe was like one of the first real life parallels. Like, I do remember, like, really relating to the song, um because where we grew up in upstate New York, not to dox us, but uh
Upstate New York is a big place. Could have been
big
anywhere.
place, try and find us.
Yeah.
You'll never get
You
us.
only know our first and last
Yeah,
names and all the information we've told you over the course of this recording. Like,
yeah, not a fucking chance.
all the hours of our personal lives that we
Yeah.
divulge flippantly.
No, and I mean, you might know where we live now, but try finding our family homes. Don't do that. So that transition from fifth grade, when I discovered Green Day for the first time, to sixth grade, that's like elementary school to middle school. And that transition was like tough for me because a lot of the people that I was friends with, like, it felt like they changed over the summer. It was like a very abrupt, you know changing of like, oh, now that you know we're older, these are the cool kids, and there's all these cliques and stuff. And so I feel like in those days, this song definitely resonated with me. Because I mean, in our neck of the woods, it was really like, oh, those were the skateboarders.
Yeah.
The skateboarders were the cool kids. And you were a couple of years older than me, so I'm not sure if it was the same for you. But
Oh no. I mean, I'm obviously, there's like different groups of cool kids and different like subs, but yes, like, that was a big. I remember when fucking Zoomies opened up at
yeah,
the mall
uh,
near us, and that
yeah,
was unironically a big deal.
it was,
That
yeah,
mattered.
yes, that was a culture shift for our school and our friends and uh colleagues,
Yes.
our
Yeah, no,
colleagues.
our colleagues, yeah, our peers. Our
um
peers.
our peers, yes. So yeah, I mean that's one of the first times, like, I could really relate to going through something in real time with the bit with discovering the band. Now, Connor, as an old fogey of freshly 56 years old,
Mhm.
how does the song affect you now? How does it resonate with you? Does it did it stand the test of time? Where are we at with this track these days?
Yeah, I would say it did. It's it is a song that I like more now. It almost makes me think of, in a weird way, it reminds me of the relationship that I have with a song like, "No One Knows," where it's like, "Oh, yeah, back then, I loved it. When I was first listening to it, I thought it was a great song," and then it's like the years of listening to it are imbued in the song in a way that's different or kind of unique to it, where it's like that's going to be true of anything that you experience over time, but because of like the subject matter and the lyrical content of a song like this, it feels um like the passage of time and all the listens that you've had with it are a part of it, like it's like layers of sediment over years and years and years, and it just builds up. um because I guess I feel like like listening to it now, this is something that I've struggled with. I feel like when I listen to this song, um in my mind, I'm like, it feels like it exposes this weakness, because I am really not the kind of person who like can cut people out of my life, or articulate to someone that I don't like them, or that something's changed. And I think that there's a case to be made that listening through the end of Dookie, like, that even though Billy's writing these songs, like, that's potentially something he struggles with too, because on a song like FOD, obviously, he kind of talks about how long it feels like he's felt this thing and he's only now expressing it. It's like something that's like simmering and then kind of reaches a breaking point or a boiling point.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is like, I feel like when I kind of reflect on it, I don't have like the boiling point. It feels like I can just simmer indefinitely, and like it's so stupid, and so like when I listen to this song now, it's not to say that there's like people in my life who I'm like, oh man, yeah, fuck that guy, like I wish I could cut them out or whatever, um but I feel like this song kind of represents um like like an expression of I guess, you know almost like your boundaries,
Yeah.
or your, like, it's more than preferences, it's saying that like something, it's like I'm recognizing that something has changed in someone who like I previously liked or was friends with or whatever, and like because of that change, this thing is like no longer working,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I've never been able to like own up to that, or like reach that point. And so when I listen to this song, it almost feels like I still have like the stupid um a fantasy in a way of being like, man, like imagine if I just fucking told that person, you've changed, dude. You kind of fucking suck. What happened? And yet I've never been that person, and I think about it all the time when I listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like tough because you know it's like I host two podcasts with this guy, so it's like you know telling him that it's just gonna be like it would be a little awkward, you know,
Yeah,
for the
yeah. No,
rest of
what
the
would we? You can't do this on your own, you know.
um no, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's tough like that. I mean, I can't really even think of I mean, I guess I can think of certain people that I've reached that breaking point with, but it's like I mean, when you're young, it almost is like something that is just occurs naturally, and usually it's like a just an organic like parting of the ways. Like you just talk less and less as the years go on, and um, but yeah, and it's interesting talking about Bill because I feel like a song like FOD and I mean other songs in Billy's repertoire are you know there's some venom there, and I do feel like he's not afraid to cut ties when he needs to, but you know again this song was written by Mike, and another song in the same vein that was written by Mike is JAR,
Yeah.
which you know they're kind of
I thought you were
they,
gonna say, "Ha ha, you're dead," but
well, both actually. That
yeah,
was written by Mike as well. Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, you know, and haha, you're dead isn't like cutting this guy off. It's like, well, now he's dead. I don't have to. I don't have to be the bad guy here.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, maybe this is an example of how these two men handle those things differently. I don't know. Maybe we're overanalyzing it, but I think there is. I think that's interesting, and I did want to bring up the jar, uh, kind of. I feel like these two songs do share a lineage, and yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a really tough thing to write about or you know discuss you know growing up, and so I think it's I don't know, I think it's an important subject to cover. I agree that this song has kind of grown with me, and I get a lot out of it, you know, more so now than I did back then, but yeah, I mean, it's also one that do feel like is underappreciated by me, and so I'm happy to kind of give it its due today, because it's a great song, but it gets buried by the rest of Dookie, and like you said, Connor, like next week we'll be talking about In the End, which is kind of like the punk one.
Mhm.
Um, so like even in that conversation of like, oh, what's the punkiest song on Dookie? I think In the End is the obvious answer. Whereas this does kind of fit that mold as well, but maybe having an even more a bit more emotional depth to it. But anyways, let's go into to the individual parts here of the song. Where do you want to start?
Um, why don't we? Why don't we start with why don't we start with the drums?
Yeah, baby.
Why don't we start
Let's
with the
start
drums?
with the drums.
That's the first thing we hear.
It is.
It's very quick. Everything pretty
Yes.
much comes in just a half second later, but you know,
Yeah, there's a very fast drum fill that starts the song off, and that's like one of the things. It's like so it hits you so hard and fast right after Coming Clean ends
yeah, yeah.
that you know you're kind of just like thrown into this vortex.
Yeah, I do. It is like really such a small thing, but I especially as I was like listening and listening and listening to to the song, I was like, man, I love that because it feels like really full. Sometimes people talk about like, oh man, when something's like produced in a way, it feels like it kind of fills the room or whatever. Like uh the drums on this song really just sound like you could almost like feel the percussion of it,
Yeah.
and that first hit, uh yeah, really does something for me. I like that a lot, and I think there's just like a really great momentum in the song. Trey always has great fills. Every song we talk about with Trey, it's like we're gonna be saying some of the same stuff all the time because it's always true.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
I do
but
want to
yeah,
make one distinction. I think it's important. Yeah, it's important to not call it momentum. We call it Treymentum.
yeah, Trey Mentum. Yeah,
Because his name ain't Mo.
no, there was something we made a joke about like way. Oh right, we were like I said we trademarked
Oh
we
yeah.
trademarked
Oh
something
yes, yes.
with
We
Trey.
trademarked. I mean, we can also trademark this
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Treymentum.
Trey Mentum. So
It's in the
there you
books
go.
now.
It's a Green Dude's original. Yeah.
It's a verbal trademark.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So good stuff. And it feels like it's like the verses and the chorus. It's all great. And all the fills in between. It's all fantastic. It's driving, it's forceful, but it feels like uh the conversation is just gonna like naturally like gravitate into this like black hole of like we need to talk about the bridge
Yeah,
because
of course.
um I mean Trey's playing is just phenomenal here. I kind of didn't think about this song as like having such a standout uh like moment for Trey's
Yeah.
drumming really before this. And as much as I have like this song, I do think that I've kind of it's funny because like you can't ignore Trey's drums in this part. You know what I mean? Like you're always aware of it, but I do think that like I hadn't really appreciated it the same way as I found myself as I've been re-listening to Dookie over and over again over the course of these conversations, and I keep coming back to like, man, um, Trey's drumming on the bridge here is really just excellent. I love just how like deep and low it sounds. It's like this, like grow. It feels like a growing like thunder cloud. It's like
Yeah.
frantic and heavy, and it just builds in this really fantastic way. So I obviously want to shout that out. Really good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's a pretty creative choice for for the bridge. I feel like this is a bridge that could go either way as far as drums, but I mean, really I think it's it's the contrast between what the bass and the drums are doing versus like
Yeah.
this emotional melody and guitar part, it's like it's a really cool contrast. Like it's frantic but at the same time it's like reflective.
Yes.
Um and so it's the drums really sell it there. It's really uh fantastic. And I mean, this is like the first time, Trey likes to do those like low tom, like wipeout kind of style drums. Like he'll do that live sometimes between songs, and something like I think certain moments on Insomniac too. I love it. Let Trey go wild. It's so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
Um, that's the standout. I mean, yeah, it's one of the highlights on a record full of highlights for Trey. So
Hmm.
that's all there is to it.
Yeah. And I do like the way the song ends too with Trey's playing, because you get that kind of like final, big um I don't know, that final big like it's like build up, and then that
Yeah.
abrupt stop.
Yes.
Um
Yeah.
and it works really well, like as I've been listening through the record, talking about In the End being next, like it it creates a really good contrast too, or like a really good start stop kind of thing, because then it's like 1 second later you're listening to in the end and it just like explodes, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So those two songs back to back, like I think the way that this uh Emenius Sleepus, the way it ends on its own is great, and then like on the record it feels like even better because it feels like a 1-2 punch.
It
Yeah,
does. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, and we'll talk about this more with in the end. But yeah, like really, once Coming Clean ends, it's like bam, right into Emily Sleepus. Then you don't rest at all until the beginning of FOD,
yeah,
and then that lulls you into a false sense of security, and then fucking demolishes you.
yeah.
But we'll get to all that, of course. Um, yeah, I think we might as well. I talked kind of about the synergy here between the bass and the drums on that
Hmm.
bridge. We might as well talk about Mr. Dern's performance on this track.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I did want to single out that bridge part. He's doing some really cool things, but throughout, I think it's another killer Dern track. What say you?
yeah, totally. Yeah, I do like uh it's like, yeah, verse chorus, I think it sounds for the most part like he's pretty much going along with Billy's riff, but it does give it like a bit more body, bit more fullness to it,
Yeah,
but you could hear it. They had bum 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 bum,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
so it's nice to have there. And yeah, in the bridge, it I yeah, like I like what you said about kind of how Trey and Mike are sort of at odds with what Billy's doing. Like it feels like what Mike's doing is more in line with Trey, but it's like
Yeah.
still, it's almost like it's still not perfectly synced somehow. Like there's this
Yeah,
weird kind of like because
he
I
kind
feel
of
like Mike's
he
he's
kind of
doing
glues
this.
it together a little bit.
He does. He glues it together. It has like this it's like this playful kind of like marching quality, right? It's like
Yeah,
bum
yeah,
bum
yeah.
bum 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 bum.
And he kind of walks up and down the neck as well, which
Yeah,
is great.
yeah. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Like it feels like what he's playing is like sort of frantic because he is, yeah, like moving up and down, but it's like really controlled. Like he has like such a handle on what he's playing. It's like everything, he hits it just right, but it does kind of have this, like, things are sort of falling apart and building at the same time a bit. Like it feels like there's this whole like different wavelengths going on, and it's like somehow they sync up. Like none of it sounds like it's
Yeah,
clashing, but they're all like slightly different, like layers or emotions or feelings that are like one on top of the other a bit.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think there's so many moments on this record. I mean, I'm like the first person to say, okay, I think Kerplunk is a better record than Dookie. And I think Dookie is so renowned and famous because first off, it just because I feel that way doesn't mean I don't believe it's a masterpiece, because it is. But um, going through song by song like we are,
Hmm.
there are so many moments on this record of just like complete brilliance. Like they're just like, it feels like what they do together on this record. It feels so natural and seamless. And like you said, they're just building on top of each other. They're kind of playing things that like wouldn't normally work together if like it wasn't the three of them. Like if it was three
Yeah.
other guys playing these same things, I feel like it wouldn't feel as natural. Like there's just something about the chemistry here that really just sells it. And so I think that really is, even if like I think the songs are better on Kerplunk, I think it's like this moment in time where their chemistry is just like so, it's so dialed in and so
Yeah.
perfect that like that's really what the magic of Dookie is, and this little moment is a great example of that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really insightful and spot on because like people talk about chemistry, with regards to playing music together all the time, and especially it's like always in the conversation with Billy, Mike, and Trey. Like everyone knows like that's
Yeah,
that's almost like the secret sauce. Like when you talk about um kind of like the simplicity and like why these things work, it's like, well, at the end of the day, it's the three of them and the dynamic that they have. But
yeah,
it's a really good shout out for this moment because then when there's like a follow up, like if someone ever asks you like what is that, like chemistry is such a intangible abstract kind of thing. It's like how
for
do you put
sure.
your finger on it? And yet
Yeah,
I do think that this moment kind of symbolizes and really showcases like what that means because they really are all playing things that are like just slightly off kilter from one another, and yet like it and yet it doesn't seem that it's like when you pick it apart, when you look at the drums and the bass and the guitar in isolation, you wouldn't think that it would all gel together in the way that it does when you listen to the full song. And yet of course
totally.
that's like the magic trick that
Yeah,
they
yep,
that they pull. And I think that that is due to exactly what you're saying, that like they're able to sync up in that way and and do it in a way where like their differences are complementing each other instead of clashing.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, it's not just this song. There's so many moments on this record where we can say the same thing, but it. This is a very special moment.
Mhm,
Now, Connor, the captain of the ship, Mr. Billy Joe Armstrong.
mhm.
How do we feel about his playing on this track?
Yeah, uh, pretty good. I like thinking of Billy as a captain, but he's like a kooky captain. He's like
Yeah.
Captain Crunch, you know?
Captain Crunch, I like it. Yeah, yeah. And I mean the crunch. I means like crunchy guitars, of course.
Yes. Yeah, yep. That's Trey demarked right there. It's
That is trademarked. Yes, it is.
Captain Crunchy guitars. Um, man, how stupid can we get? It's like
I we're not even close to
no, yeah.
to the maximum threshold.
Yeah. All right. No, but I do think that Billy's playing. It's a great simple riff like usual. And it I don't know. I just like the way it defines kind of like the melody or the flow of this song. Like I really
Yeah.
love the
It's such a classic Green Day riff.
yeah.
It's so easy, but it works so well. It doesn't feel. I mean, it's so easy. It doesn't feel too easy. It feels like the perfect riff for this kind of song.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, man, something about I guess like the flow of this song. It's like it feels like you can like hear the strumming pattern like so perfectly that I can imagine Billy with his guitar, like like the strap 6 feet down and like the
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
just
yeah,
just the
totally.
way that he plays at that time is like it feels like this song like captures that fucking goofball
Yeah,
up on stage.
definitely.
Um yeah, and I guess going back to the bridge because it's like yeah the verses and the chorus are great and it does just feel like classic Green Day, but I do like what Billy adds to the bridge. I like how you mentioned it feels a little more emotional,
Yeah,
um, a little more thoughtful or contemplative maybe because he's kind of has like these uh you know just little notes ringing out little.
yeah, yeah. He does some work like with open chords, and then also with just stray notes. which is like reminiscent to like 39 Smooth. That's a kind of a trick from the first two records that he's
Yeah. That
brought out
that's
for this.
that's true. This I feels like his playing here is almost like a more kind of like bright, sweet, kind of like Welcome to Paradise sort of thing, where
Uh-huh.
instead of like the feedback and the notes being like discordant and weird,
Yeah,
it feels like pleasance, you know?
totally.
It's
Yeah,
it's it's
absolutely.
uplifting in a way,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good negative comparison or
Yeah.
uh what's the word for that?
I don't know. It's a bit of a it just feels like it's kind of like the same idea, but he flips it on its head a bit, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. It's like inverted.
inverted.
Yeah,
Yeah. It feels a little bit like that to me.
yeah.
It's like it's all the same toolbox, but it's a different yeah, different effect. That's what it
Totally.
feels like to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean I think it's like it's a deceptively simple song. Like it is no doubt very simple on guitar. But yeah, I mean he does pull out some things that are not seen on the the rest of the record and does I mean the whole band is creative in their simplicity. Do you have any other thoughts on these parts before we jump into the I guess the vocals and the lyrics?
Um, I don't think so. I
All
don't
right.
think so. It all just coalesces really well, and
Yeah.
I think we kind of talked about what we wanted to talk about there.
Yeah. Let's try something different. I think talking about the vocals with the lyrics makes more sense than just
Yeah.
we'll just try it out.
Oh, captain, my captain. You know, you're the host. I'm just the co-host.
That's true.
You
It's
tell
true.
me.
Well, we'll see, based on the feedback whether this works better.
Hmm.
Uh, all right. So,
Oh, captain, my crunch. How about that
oh,
one?
Captain, my crunch. Oh,
Sounds a
Captain,
little
my
good.
crunchman.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, let's see. Connor, can you help us out with the song?
Yeah. Here we go.
All right.
Uh, just tell me the words
Words
I
I
might
might
have
have
known.
known,
The
the
words
words
I
I
might
might
have
have
known.
known,
The
the
words
words
I
I
might
might
have
have
known.
known. All right. So yeah, starting off, Connor, we'll get into the lyrics and the vocals, but I know you were the title of the song was a little tricky for you, as I'm sure it was
Mhm.
for a lot of people. But how about the lyrics? Is there anything that you didn't realize, or anything that you know were not privy to as far as the lyrics go?
Yeah. They were in this song. They were small things. Um, this is a song that I felt like I've known and internalized for a long time. Um, but I was there was okay. Let me put it to you like this: there was one thing that I always knew I didn't know, but I always knew that it must have been small, so I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Uh,
And then there was one thing I thought I knew that I was surprised to find out I was wrong about.
okay.
So the first thing, the one that I was like I was never sure, um, it was so the beginning of the second verse on Genius, as we always reference Genius, Billy sings, "How have I been? How have you been?" And I never realized he was saying, I always sang it as, "Hello, my friend, how have you been?" It's
Okay.
been so, and the thing is like I could tell that he wasn't saying that,
Yeah.
but I was like, "What the fuck is it?" Turns out it's just how have it's like a conversation, and I didn't
Yeah,
realize
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that kind of feels like something. I don't know. It's like I feel like I have lyrics like that too, where it's like I kind of want the lyric to be what I thought it was, and but the whole time I know that it's not.
Yeah. Um, okay, and then the other one that again is small, but this one mattered. So in the bridge, I knew that Billy started saying, "Anybody ever say no?" But then I thought he said, "Ever tell you that you were right?"
Oh, okay.
And I was always like, why are those two things like opposite? I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
always I was always like, "Oh, is that supposed to be like no one ever told you no, but no one ever like acknowledged you or said you did anything
yeah.
right either, you know?" But
It changes things a little bit.
it does. And then but it's sort of like reinforcing like has anyone ever like, you know, have you ever faced any criticism, or are
Yeah,
you just like floating through life on a golden cloud, you know? So that's just a two-letter change there, but I did feel like that one mattered. I was like, "Oh, ever tell you that you weren't right?" I was
it
like, "That makes a
does.
lot of sense."
Yeah, I think it does make more sense that way. I mean, I think there's an argument for the other line as well, like you were saying, but yeah, no, I think it does make more sense this way. That's really interesting.
Mhm.
I don't know. I can't remember a time when I didn't know all the words to this song. Although I'm sure that there were some misconceptions here, but I have no memory of them. Um, let's talk a little bit about Billy's vocal performance here. I think it's up there with the rest of Dookie. I think it's like a really competent performance. It's like this really great balance between, like, I don't know, strong and vulnerable, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, this song is one of the songs that calls for that kind of walking that line the most. I think, especially in that bridge, it's done very well.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. He does kinda, like, glide really effortlessly from yeah, like, that very, like, soft, clear kind of singing that feels a lot more, yeah, vulnerable is a good word for it. And then, yeah, just that slip into, "Then you know it's true," you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's Snotty Billy right there.
Snotty Bill. Yes. I mean, he walks the line so well on this song. Um, that I mean, it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It boggles my mind, like hearing him talking about how nervous he was recording these vocals and just how, like, masterful they sound. Like you were really, like, shitting your pants over this performance when it's like a great. I think
Yeah.
we lost signal for just a second, but we're back.
Yeah, doesn't even really feel like it's worth mentioning because it was literally 1 second, but
No,
sure.
I just
You just love to do
it's
that.
not even worth
We're
mentioning.
just
You're
gonna
right.
talk
Yeah,
about the
let's move
podcast as
on.
we do it.
It's
You
not
just
even.
love to do that. Doesn't have to be said.
It's fun to get a bit meta. It's fun to get a bit meta from time to time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, good stuff.
anyways, this is another good song lyrically. I think it's very simple, but very powerful lyrics. Connor, do you have any lines you would like to point out and talk about?
Um, yeah, maybe. You know, it's like I feel like this is one of the first songs where like more I don't know, more than just the lot like cuz a lot of times it does feel like there's like, oh man, just that line. Like when we were talking about coming clean, you know, that was a really big
Oh,
deal.
he froze.
Oh shit.
All right,
Uh-oh.
now we are back. We
Oh,
something's going
okay,
on.
dude. Yeah,
Something's
it's
going on.
you. It's you. It's 100% you.
Something's happening.
Can you hear me? Oh fuck.
I can hear you fine. Yeah,
All right.
it's let's not point fingers. It could be me. It could be you. It could be something else.
Well,
Who knows?
I can tell that it's you, but
Who knows who it
it's no
actually
big
is?
it's no big deal.
Um,
So let me keep going. Let me keep going
yes,
because
yes,
I was saying a lot of times it does seem like there's a single or a lyric or a handful of lyrics from like, oh man, but I do I guess I feel like it's like it's more like a little zoomed out for me on this because when I look through the verses, um, I really love what Billy's able to articulate. You know, the first verse I saw my friend the other day, and I don't know, I don't have to go through all of it, but it's like that with that recognition that like coming back in contact with someone and it's almost like people can be like a barometer of your own growth that you're not aware of, and you
yeah,
kind of get the idea that whoever Billy's meeting back up with, like, okay, Mike wrote this song. I'm going to keep saying Billy because I guess
yes,
that's just what I do. And I didn't know that. I didn't know Mike wrote this song. That's a cool fact to have there. But at any rate, um, like a lot of times you might not be aware of the ways in which you're changing, and so like to meet back up with someone from your past and to identify like, oh, like you're the same and I'm not,
mhm,
uh comes across loud and clear in this song. And
yeah,
um and like I have had experiences with that a lot actually. And when I think back to people I used to be friends with, like in high school, there were times where maybe I saw them years later and I was like, that that line, um it wasn't long ago that I was just like you. Like I literally, it feels like I've had the exact same thought where I was like, oh fuck, like I remember when I thought the same thing was funny or when I did the same shit. And
yeah,
and the difference is that I guess I was dancing around before is like I never had the moment where I was like where like I guess I like seized the moment or whatever and was upfront about
uh,
that. Because instead I pretty much
gotcha.
just didn't say anything and then it just like naturally fell apart and drifted away over time,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
mhm.
Um but yeah, that so I don't know. There is me now. I'm talking all over the place, but the one line that I would shout out here is "Where did all the little kid go?" Great line.
Oh, that's a great line. Yeah, that's a great line, and yeah, such a sad realization. I've had that. Yeah, I've definitely had friends where I have had the same sad feeling, the same sad thought. Did you lose it in a hateful fight? That's I don't know. I think that's a I think everybody goes through that with old friends. Sometimes they come back around, sometimes they are gone forever.
Hmm.
Just part of growing up, I think. Um, a little thing that I really love with the chorus is the first chorus, goes, now I think I'm sick and I want to go home. Second chorus is, now I think you're sick and I want to go home.
Yes.
I've always loved that little turn. So I thought it needed to be noted.
Yeah. Sure.
Uh, because yeah, that's a pretty powerful change. That's just a stages of the realization that this person that you grew up with and were friends with has changed so much, and you're like, wait, actually, it's not me, it's them. It actually
Yes.
is them.
Yeah.
Like they actually do suck.
And
And
um, because I keep saying like, oh, I feel like this song like really expresses like saying these feelings or these thoughts to that person's face. But as I'm looking through it and like hearing you talk about it, I don't think that's necessarily true because it's like they're kind of it's more like the realization and they're like, man, I want to get the fuck out
yeah,
of here. Not
totally. Yeah.
Not that they're literally like, "Dude, you suck. What happened?" They're kind of like, "Oh, fuck. I'm out. I'm gonna go."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what it is. I think we do get that confrontation with FOD. So it's fun to connect the two things. Um Again, I think it's like similar instances, similar situations just handled differently by different people. Um but yeah, anything else you want to point out about the lyrics or the vocals here before we move on?
Um, no, no. I guess I just really appreciate the story that this song tells. I think it's really cool that Mike wrote this because honestly, it feels like it could just be a Billy song. And
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
a song like, we talked about "Haha, You're Dead." Um, that's not the case. Like, I don't think Billy would ever write that song, or it wouldn't be the same.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, he would never write Governator.
yes, right, right,
Or Nobody Likes You in Homecoming, the
yeah,
Spike
exactly.
TV.
But
Yeah.
this one, it's like I never bat an eye. I always just thought this was Billy through and through. So it's really interesting that Mike's the one who wrote this because it feels really in line with what I would expect from Billy, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Um yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Mike. Uh all right, Connor, help me out on this next one. I'm gonna sing a song and goes a little something like this. A one, a two, a one, two, three. Warning, live without
Have
warning.
we heard this song? Have we heard this song?
All right, folks. Apart from the obvious, Connor and I have seen Dookie in full twice now. So, of course, we have heard the song at least two times. But before then, Connor, have we heard Emenius Sleepus at any point live before the Savior's Tour?
The answer I feel I feel very sure about is no.
Connor, you are 100% correct.
Yeah.
Neither of us had heard the song prior to the Savior's Tour. This was actually one of the songs that I was like really looking forward to hearing live because it's just I've never heard it live. It's again, it's not really one that they just like whip out occasionally. So this was a major highlight for me to hear it live. It was really awesome. I mean, I go back to I feel like that Philadelphia show with the rain
Yes.
starting during
Yes.
like Sassafras Roots, like lasting through in the end. Like that's just a moment I will never forget.
Yeah.
And this song was a part of that. Really, really incredible. Very, very fortunate to have seen it live. And again, if any of Green Day or Green Day family are listening, encourage the boys to, maybe whip it out once in a while.
Yes. Yeah.
Just say, hey, yeah, Billy, maybe whip it out. Maybe whip it out today.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll know what that means.
Yeah,
Um,
he won't. He won't end up like pulling his pants down on stage, thinking
yeah,
that's what
no,
you were asking. That's not what
tell him the green dude said it. He'll know
he
what it
would never.
means.
Yeah, tell
Um,
tell him it was the Green Dudes.
Something about you mentioning the rain and like talking about this song and when we saw it live and stuff, it feels like that's kind of another inverted moment in my mind because when I think about being at the same stadium in Philly um, for the Hella Mega tour, the rain was like punishing. It
Yeah,
was it was soul destroying.
it
It it
was. It was
it
bad.
felt like I was just fucking skin and bones and completely
Yeah,
annihilate like buckets. Uh,
yeah,
it was tough, and it's funny because you would think after fucking waiting literally all day that it would be the same uh at the Savior's tour, but it really felt like when the rain started, it's like is when the show started. It's like
yeah.
somehow it felt like it revitalized me, and I have like the same feeling of like going through that stretch of songs during the
Yeah,
Dookie set and just being like, what a special time and place to have been to hear those songs.
absolutely. Yeah, the difference is really funny. It did feel like it was like purifying rain this time,
Yes.
and it like brought us back to life. Yeah, whereas on the Hella Mega Tour, it destroyed everyone,
Yeah.
and including us.
I that was the
It
first time
was
I got
insane.
COVID. Like
That
that
was
was
when, yeah, the rain gave Connor COVID.
yeah, it was really bad.
It was really very bad. Um, but yeah, great experience. Hope everyone listening can experience the same thing at some point. Um, all right, you ready to check out what the seedy underbelly of the interwebs has to say?
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
very curious as to what's it gonna be like for
Yeah,
Emenius Sleepus? Maybe people will talk about the title a bit. I wonder.
maybe so. All right, let's hear it from the anti-social media.
We are
All right, so most of these are from YouTube, but I do have a few from Reddit. Let's see. So starting off, this is a Reddit discussion about Emenius Sleepus. They said, so I wondered what the title meant and looked it up. Apparently it's Latin. If you translate it, it comes to ement sleeper. Ement means work at inconvenient times. So I think it means something along the lines of doing work instead of sleeping.
um I mean, I obviously I'm no expert, but you already said the translation that you seem to agree with was sleep with the buyer. So is this a mistranslation?
This is a mistranslation. This person is wrong, which usually people on Reddit are not wrong. So this was something I had to single out. And I mean, pretty much the entire thread is just people saying no, that's not correct.
Got it. Yeah.
You're
And I'm
100% wrong.
they and every single commenter could have just realized that it had already been said and was just like, "You know what? Let's dogpile on this
Let's
one.
leave this guy alone. Nope,
This is gonna be great."
we're gonna jump in
Yeah.
and get him to delete his account. Um, and let's DM him nasty things
Yeah,
too.
no, I mean we really needed a, user butthole sniffer 49 or
Yeah,
whatever to weigh in.
exactly. Next up we have flaming Star Wars guy 851. They say this basically sums up my feelings on Billy Joe himself.
Oh shit.
You back?
Well, I never
Are
left.
you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I don't know what's happening with your internet. It's kind of fucked up.
I'm at a completely full service here. I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, I don't. It must be the servers for Streamyard.
Must be.
Um, did
But
you hear what I said?
I heard the comment was it sums up their feelings about Billy, but then I didn't hear the rest. So maybe just reread it.
All right, so all right,
I mean, I'm sure you're
We
gonna edit this. Oh
we are
fuck.
back.
Okay.
Just for Connor's sake, I'm gonna reread the comment. This is Flamin' Star Wars Guy 851. Flamin' Star Wars Guy says, "This basically sums up my feelings on Billy Joe himself when he said on Instagram that any Trump supporters, including his fans, can go to hell, including me, I guess."
Yeah, no, this person can go to hell and burn. So whatever.
Yeah, they're Flamin' Star Wars Guy anyway, so they're already burning.
Yeah, right. They're halfway there. Um, yeah, just really, it's crazy. It's crazy, like how stupid some Green Day fans are.
Yeah, I know.
How stupid some music listeners are. Who who was that fucking there was like that politician who was like, "Oh man, I loved Rage Against the Machine." They were like a conservative politician.
Yeah,
They were like, "Oh, I love Rage Against the Machine. What happened to them?" And it's like, "You are a fucking idiot. You just are
yeah.
fucking stupid. What's your
You're
problem?"
dumb. Yeah, you're a dumb person. I think that was Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
That was very, very funny. He just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
we have
basically
a
have
few.
the same sentiment where it's like,
Oh
I
yes,
mean,
exactly.
it's like the answer is just yeah, like, "Oh man, Billy, you changed." It's like, dude, you're the one who's on the other side of this.
Yes, he's actually been pretty consistent here. Maybe I mean I don't know your history. Maybe you're the one that's changed, or maybe just that you have never realized the wider scope of things. We have a few replies to this comment. P Jero 24 says, "I thought I was the only Trump supporter that loves Green Day." Then Flamin' Star Wars guy says, "Guess I'm not alone. Good to know." Then that guy replies, "People think that conservatives don't have a music taste and should only listen to cheesy Christian pop songs."
Yeah, no, it's always like a very kind of fascinating and disturbing look into it feels like that last comment especially. It's sort of like, "Oh yeah, no, I love the way this music sounds. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
enjoy the sound of this music." And it's like,
Well,
"That's
that's it.
cool."
I mean,
It just stops and ends there, right?
exactly. You can have a surface level understanding and respect for it if you want, but I mean, like that's fine. Like if you can disconnect from your personal feelings and your bigoted worldview for like that's fine. If it's just the loud noises you like, that's totally fine, but you're not gonna connect with it on a meaningful level. And I'm sorry to if that sounds harsh, but that's just the truth. Um, so I mean, really, more than anything, this is it's a very sad person. If that's kind of their relationship with art.
Yeah. And it's
Um,
like in any fan base that gets big enough, it's like that's gonna happen. Those
yeah,
people are gonna be there. Sometimes you're singing side by side with them at a concert and you don't
totally,
even know.
totally. I'm sure we have.
It's not that there's anything wrong with that. In a weird way, I kind of wish more conservatives would listen to Green Day, but only in the hope that they would not to be fucking pretentious about it, but like actually listen to it. Like
Yeah,
it's just very bizarre to me that that's because it's like the opposite like never happens. You never have someone who's like left leaning listen to like a super fucking conservative artist and they're just like, "Oh yeah, they're saying all this bigoted shit, but yeah, at least they fucking rock," right? Like
catchy
it doesn't
B.
yeah, but it just doesn't happen like the other way around.
No,
And
I mean, yeah, it's like I don't know. Is it because they're conservative or is it because they're dumb? Like I mean, I'm sure it's a mixture, but it's like, yeah, I don't understand how you get to this point, where like you're a fan of Green Day, and you're sitting on the surface level for so many years that you're like, one day you open your eyes and you're like, wait a second,
yes.
wait, these guys, they're liberals?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What the
they
fuck?
they always act like they got the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah,
It literally takes the fucking front man of the band to say in completely explicit terms, like, "Go fuck yourself if you think this," for them to be like, "Wait a minute.
yeah.
Hold the phone." I don't know. If we keep talking about it, we're gonna talk in circles. But
And
it's
yes,
always blows my mind, dude. It's
it's
crazy.
insane, and there's no shortage of these guys. They keep coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
They're we will see many more of them. Next up, we have Placid from 1 year ago. Placid says, "Do Billy Joe read comments?
Do he?
Do he? I don't know.
I think
Maybe
sometimes he do.
maybe occasionally he do." Um, let's see. Next up, we have Parody XE 311. So I guess Paradise 311. From 2 months ago, they say their Dookie album is overrated, but this song is underrated. I had the original CD with Ernie on the back. So what do you think about that, Connor? You think he thinks Dookie is overrated, but this song, Emenius Sleepus, is underrated.
Yeah. I think it's a fair comment. I think it's one of those like critical comments where I my knee jerk reaction is to like objectively agree with it. But then to be honest, it's like when I think about it, I feel like I feel like Dookie's one of those albums where it's just rated. Like,
Yeah,
and I agree with your earlier comment. I also prefer Kerplunk to Dookie. Like if I'm gonna put the album side by side, I don't think that I love Dookie as much as like the quote unquote average Green Day fan who might put Dookie at the top of the list, number one Green Day album. I'd be like, I don't think so. Um, but I also don't think that like the accolades and love that Dookie gets is unwarranted. I think that
no,
it deserves everything that it got, and I think it's because it came out in the time and place when it did. And so, like, looking back on it, especially if you weren't there, it might feel like, yeah, what's up with it.
yeah,
But ultimately, I don't think Dookie's overrated, even though I don't personally I don't feel like I have personally liked it in the way that it feels like other people hold it up as like, the pinnacle of Green Day.
no, absolutely. I think, yeah, it was a time and place thing. And I mean, if the time and place was different and Kerplunk was the breakout record, I would say the same thing. Oh, Kerplunk deserves all of its accolades. If Nimrod was the breakout album, I'd say the same thing. So it's no. I'm not trying to disparage Dookie in any way, shape, or form. It's a great record. I do think it's. I mean, if anything, the albums surrounding Dookie are underrated.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Next up, we have Dispenser Soup 69. Dispenser Soup says the opposite of this song name is Eminem Sleeps.
I like that one.
Yeah, so that would be like a fun. Imagine like a fun rap parody of this song. It's called Eminem Sleeps, about Eminem's sleep disorder.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like somehow there's a like somebody wake up Billy Joe joke in there somewhere, but with Eminem.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I can
Somehow
see
there's a way to get there, but I'm not
Eminem's
sure.
like it was like, "Yo, Billy, I'm trying to sleep,"
Yeah,
or
right.
something. That would be like a fun line.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Uh,
we someone's got to make
yeah,
that meme. Maybe it'll be us.
Green Dudes Nation, make it happen.
Yes.
Internet, do your thing. Uh, all right, I've
Yeah.
got a few left here. Kwame Sarabor 9287 says this album was recorded before I started playing guitar, so you can imagine how good they are.
I don't know what that means. I can't imagine. I don't know what that means.
No,
I don't
no,
know
no.
who
So,
this
so
person
this
is.
album it was recorded before the commenters started playing guitar, so you can imagine how good the album was,
Right, right.
right?
It's like I just don't understand like
Where's the
would they have
connection?
played on the album
Yeah,
or
where's
like
the
I don't
connective tissue? I like. Are you saying that like before you were playing guitar, like you like music had to be exceptional to get made or something? I don't. It's hard to really see where where this guy's mind is traveling to, but
yeah.
That was a funny one. We have Jude Santillan 5286 from 10 years ago. Jude says, "Remember, kids, Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Jesus Christ."
Hmm.
That's, that's a quote from Jesus Christ himself.
Yeah, yeah. I think Jesus Christ Superstar specifically.
Yes. Yes. And just in time for the new Shrek movie starring Zendaya.
That's right. That's right. I can't wait for Timothy Chalamet and Austin Butler to be revealed as part of the
Yes.
cast.
Yes. Austin Butler will play Lord Farquaad's nephew,
That's right.
um, and Timothy
Oh, and
Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet could be like Prince Charming's
Yeah.
son or something, right?
Yes. Perfect. But
Yeah.
he's secretly an ogre, and we find that out later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we just wrote Shrek
I
5.
I
We
think
just did it.
yeah, no, I think we could add that to the bingo card because I think we're
Yeah,
winning.
if it was Green Day related, then
Yeah,
maybe Green Day has a song on the
yeah.
soundtrack.
Can we do 6 Degrees of Green Day, but with Shrek?
Oh,
Is
that yeah,
there a connection there? There it feels like
God.
I
There
mean,
well,
they're
there's
both
gotta
green. They're both
I mean, they're
green.
both green. They're both green. I mean, I think it would have to boil down to the soundtrack and like Green Day toured with Weezer. Weezer's on the soundtrack. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
connection there. I mean, I'm sure
Okay.
there's a few if we really dug into it.
Yes.
Um, anyways, One Eyed Bastard should be on the Shrek 5 soundtrack.
Yeah. Yep.
There should be a Cyclops character, and that
Yeah.
maybe that should come in when the Cyclops walks
Boom.
on screen.
Wow. That's
It writes
yes.
itself. It
It
writes
writes
itself.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Uh, okay. Last but not least, here we have Mystic Claus 100. Mystic Claus says, "Can someone explain the song name to me?" And Spring Eternal replies, they say, "It is Latin for sleeping with the buyer, which it could mean a friend only spending time with some bitch, aka the buyer."
Wow.
So that's what the song's about. It's your friend spending time with, I quote, some bitch.
Yeah, right. That just might be it.
Yeah, we should
Um,
ask Mike.
yeah, yeah, I would love to sit down and just, like, read it's like, do he read comments? Do he? You know,
Do
just,
Mike
like,
read comments?
read this comment to him and just be like, "What do you
What do you
yo,
think,
can we
Mike?
just get, like, some insight," you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think uh I think that would be pretty
Yeah,
helpful here.
yeah.
Connor, who the heck wins comment of the day?
I'm okay, I'm between, Eminem sleeping,
Hmm.
and then actually maybe the do he read comment one is pretty funny.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
It's one of those 2, I think, in my mind today.
Okay. I think do Billy Joe read comments wins.
Yeah.
I think Placid wins the episode
Yes.
just because I think there's a lot of mileage we can get out of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe we keep saying that.
And the thing
So
is we're poking fun, but I wanna know too. Do
yeah,
he?
of course. No, it's a legitimate question. I mean, and maybe one day we will get to the bottom of it. Do he read comments? We know he does. We know he do read comments on Instagram
Yes.
occasionally. We know that. Um, do he read comments elsewhere? That's the big question.
Yeah.
I think one day we will find out definitively, and we will let you know, Placid. Thank you for the comment here. If you know you are interested in receiving your prize, we do offer a generous prize package to all of our winners. Please hit us up. Uh, Even if you just see us on the street, just say, "Hey, I'm Placid. Where's my prize?
Mhm.
Where my prize at?" That's fine. You know, Connor and I are always carrying prizes just in case
It's true.
on our
But you
person.
do have to also be prepared to prove your identity. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, you have
can
to
you
have
sign on to your account?
yes,
You know,
yeah.
I
You need to sign on to your YouTube account. You need to have a government ID. I mean, two forms
right.
of identification.
Because these are coveted
Um,
prizes, and we have a lot
they
of
are
listeners.
yes.
Anyone could feasibly come up to us and say like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah,
hey, I'm so and
oh
so."
yeah. No, you need proof. We need proof. So that's like a passport, birth certificate, social security card, you know, any combination, two forms of ID, and then to log into your account right in front of us. That's all we need. So, Connor, any final thoughts on the episode or the song or anything that we covered before we wrap it up?
Um, this is a song I it's a song I have loved. It's a song I continue to love. Um, it's a song that even after we're done talking about it, I'm like, maybe that whole idea of it about being a confrontation of this person who's changed, maybe that's the fantasy I built up in my head
Mm,
and applied to the song.
sure.
And just looking at the lyrics themselves, maybe there's more commonality in the way that I've handled and let these bridges kind of collapse on their own. Maybe that's
Yeah,
I have more in common with Mike than I might have thought, at least when
sure.
he wrote this song. Um,
Maybe you're like Mike.
yeah, I think they made a movie about that, right?
I
About
think they
being
did.
like
Yeah, yeah.
Mike Dirnt.
Like Mike Dirnt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think Lil Romeo starred in that. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they do get compared a
they
lot.
do.
Lil
Yes.
Romeo and Mike Dirnt.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you got to do a double take
Uh
sometimes.
huh. Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Something I'll probably have in the back of my mind as I continue to listen to this song for years to come.
Hell yeah. Well said. Absolutely. Folks, thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in. If you could be so inclined, to go on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating as well as a nice review. That would really help us in the algorithm, which is where things matter. If if you want to share your Emenius Sleepus story with us or any other Green Day related story, hit us up on our social media, where you can DM us or follow us on Twitter or Instagram or Blue Sky. We are at Green Dudes Pod. You can also shoot us an email at greendudespod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Next week or next episode, which will be next week, we are covering In the End. We are almost at the end of Dookie, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So get ready, folks. But as always, folks, most importantly, until next time,
Stay
stay
punk.
punk. All right. Stream over.